Coming up on the next episode. Good Thursday afternoon to you all YouTube. It is 2:48 now, as you can see there on the screen. Back with you once again. The mood has struck. I am making another video. Wanted to share with you one of the, I guess you could call it a time waster project, but I was thinking about this, I believe on Monday, and I was telling Bob about it, and you all know Bob, and decided to do something about it. And what I did was whip up a case in Tinkercad. Now let's show you that real quick. Now there's the front and the back of it. I don't know how well you can tell this, but that is kind of IT 5283 heat kit. It doesn't look like I wanted it to look. It's too big. It used a 4-inch speaker. I mean, it would work. It would work the same, but it just didn't look right. We went ahead and printed this up, and I was just totally not happy with it because it used basically the same front and back, and it was a little difficult to get the case to snap on and together, and the holes for the screws they had holes. The plastic had holes in it where you could see through it. I just didn't care for it at all. So what I did was to design something else. And that was this item here. If it ever loads up there. There it is. Not sure why there's something in the middle of it, but there it is. There you go. That's what it came out to be. And this is the one we settled on and are going to be using in our little experiment here. Not experiment. I kind of wanted to do this all along, and I wanted to make one of these. But the 3D printer just made it so much easier to just go ahead and design one for it. You can see in this case here has the speaker opening. Now it's off a little more long here. This actually matches the dimensions of the original. I found several pictures online and took a ruler and measured the screen to where I could get the aspect ratio of what this was. I think this was 9 inches here, this was 8 inches down here, and that's really all you need to know so you can make the whole thing. And then I measured from the top to the bottom also. And once I did that, I came up with the basic design. Now, of course, the sides may not be exactly correct as far as the other one, but that doesn't matter that much. I just wanted something that kind of looked like it from the thing. I even colored it to blue, as you can see there. So that's kind of neat. There's the inside. Now, these little standoffs here are set up for a PCB. And so that's where Bob got involved. We kind of went over, and I ended up taking the schematic from the original PDF of the assembly manual and condensing it down to just basically the signal tracer portion of this. It has another function. It's an audible voltmeter, I think is what they call it, something of that sort. That would never ever be, and in fact when I had one I never ever used it. So that's really not important to me. Also, the external speaker thing, that's not a big deal either, although that could be added very easily if I needed to. But like I say, this is what it looks like, and let's move this out of the way just a little bit here. Yeah, there you go. Get this over to the side here so we can see what's here. Now, there you go, we can see this. The bottom standoffs that screw the case half together. Now, I put these flat parts here too. I wanted something for it to rest on. Seemed like when I had just like the other one I did, just this part here, it didn't line up really good. So I actually wanted to do this first, And so we did, and also I put gussets in there, as you can see there, on each standoff that run the full length of the case and all the the standoff itself. And these ones in the bottom that you see here on the 3 of them, those will be used to screw the back in, which is, you didn't see it, but I think it was red over there. I don't know if you can tell what it was looked like, but you can see they're the same ones there on the top. There's 3 in the top as well. So basically, there you go. That's what that looks like, and we want to put this back in shape where it was. So let me do that real quick. There we go. Now it's back. But anyway, like I said, there you go. I'm going to show you a picture here when we come up, go down to the schematics, and we'll look at that, and then I'll show you a picture of what I did. I put the volume control in there, and the input jack, and even put some writing up here. So just wanted to show you what it was going to look like. But I think next up, I think we need to go over to the bench in the shop and actually see how it turned out. Let's do that, and then we'll move on down to the schematics after that. So join me for that. All right, well, now you've seen the picture of the artist's conception of, of this device here. And this is actually the device, device case, whatever you want to call this thing. This is, I showed you the separate parts of this in Tinkercad, and you saw that the bottom piece, I'll turn around here a little bit, the bottom piece here is part of this here, all that is made together, and the top is the only thing that is separate. Well, not the only thing, but it is separate from that, and it was, you know, printed on its own. And the back is the same way. The back was printed also on its own. And so there you go. There's what that looks like. And I think it turned out rather well. I'm very happy with it. Very pleased indeed. As I think I mentioned, if I didn't, I'll mention it again. Bob has all the electronics on the way for this. He paid for the volume control switch that'll go here, and I have some audio jacks that'll, one of them will go here, and that will be the input. And then on the back side will be the power. I have a power plug there. I've got some of those, I think they're 5.1 millimeter or whatever they are, common, or you know, the Chinese type that everything powers by. Got some of those with the screw, you know, the screw on the back, and then on between the back and the where it actually connects to the board, I'll put one of those JST, I believe they're JST red connectors in there, and that way if I need to take the back off and, you know, work on something, I can do that. And there is still a screw here and a screw here that hasn't been drilled yet. I just wanted to get something together, and it does have the bottom screws, or yeah, the bottom 4 screws into the screw into the top to hold that together, and it's really stable. I mean, it's nice, and you know, it will work out really good. Very happy with it. And like I say, I do have my paint, as I think I may have mentioned. If I didn't, I'm mentioning it now. There's the color for that, Rust-Oleum, and that's what I'm going to use to paint that. And I have me some painter's tape. I didn't have any. I've ran out, I guess, from working on the Buick. So I got that at Home Depot, both of those things. And as soon as I get this taped up, I wanted to get the holes drilled first, and I still have the 2 in the middle of the back to do. But other than that, I did have to, on this bottom here, I did have to route that out just a little bit to a 6 millimeter drill bit, so that the head of the screw, I really didn't think it out very well. You know, I would have a problem with the screws fitting into the that were big enough to fit into the upper part that, you know, had a small head. But I did find 4 that did, and like I said, it just barely reamed a little bit out of this. It didn't take out much. In fact, you can't really even tell it. But again, that worked out great. So far, so good. Now, Bob, as I mentioned, I think he has electronics coming. In addition to the electronics, he bought 2 16 ohm 3-inch speakers that will fit these holes, hopefully. The one I have bought out of California was measured for this 60 millimeter holes, and that's what I did on this. So I'm hoping the ones he bought will also fit this. I made the hole small enough that in case I need to go one way or the other as far as out or in or whatever, it should work out. Now also this will be, once I get the bottom and the top painted blue, I will mask this off and the square part right here, and I'm going to paint that all silver to match the original. And I think that'll look pretty good and look pretty sharp. I'm really kind of excited about it. And this is just, as I mentioned, it's just one of those projects that I wanted to do. And this has nothing to do with the BDST. This will not be sold, obviously. It's pretty much a blatant copy of the IT5283, except for the size. Again, like I say, I took the pictures, the best pictures I could find, and measured those on the screen and found out what they were, and then I could get my ratio or dimensions or whatever you want, aspect ratio I guess is what it would be, of how these were shaped, and the height and the width and things like that, and then just multiplied it. That's all I did to this size here. I wanted something that would fit a 3-inch speaker, and like I said, that fits in pretty good because that'll work out great, really great. And like I said, the first speaker I bought was 16 or 8 ohm out of California, like I said, and I didn't realize at the time, but these actually call for a 16 ohm speaker, this electronics, and I think next thing I'm going to show you is the schematics that we came up with. That was our first part of the whole journey, is getting this. We took the original schematic and condensed it down to just the signal tracer portion of it, and that went from there. So that's how we did that. I do have I believe what I'm going to do is put 4 feet on the bottom of this to make it sit nice, rubber feet, to where it'll sit up just a little bit and be a little bit more stable. I think that would be the thing to do. Like I say, it's just a little bit out of kilter, but like I say, that's, you can't be perfect with your 3D printing. It just don't allow you to do that. There's just too many variables. When it melts, you'll see the top. I don't know how well you can see that, but there is a lip on that. That's going to get sanded off, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to attach it, get it exactly where I could get it. Now the bottom is just perfect on it, so don't have to do any sanding on that. The sides are good. The only thing I have to do is sand down the top a little bit to make it match the contour of the top, and that's all you really have to do. So there you go. That's a good look at it. So this is this is what I've been occupying my time with for the last couple of days. Again, I have the letter here to send to Bob with the transistors in it. I bought the transistors, the Darlingtons, and he only had one of those. He wanted 2 more, so I'm sending those to him, and that way we'll all have basically all the same stuff, and that'll be good. So anyway, that's that. Let me move on to the other part of this, and we'll sit down at the computer again, and I'll explain more about the schematic, how we came up with that, and what it looks like. So stay tuned. Back once again. As you can see, this is the schematic of the Heathkit model IT5283X. I added the X to it. This is just the portion of the what do you call it, that signal tracer that actually is a signal tracer. I wanted to point out this while we have it up here. This is the diode and the 1000 picofarad capacitor in the probe. You can see there's a switch here. If you switch it this way, it goes through that. That's the RF function. This is the audio over here. It goes directly into the tracer. There is also a 400 volt capacitor here to protect the circuit here. So that's good. And there's your ground clip over there. But other than that, here's our preamp. Now this is basically the same preamp used in the BDST, with the exception of using 2 discrete transistors for this. And it goes through some coax here and goes over to the amplifier section. And there's like the preamp of the amplifier section, the audio amp, and this is the output here, and feeds that into the speaker. Now this, as it turns out, this is a 16 ohm speaker, and so that's I ordered one first from California, and it's a 3-inch speaker that case uses, and it's a 8 ohm speaker, and this turned out to be a 16 ohm speaker. So Bob got on and eBay and started looking around and came up with a 16 ohm 3-inch speaker, and so we kind of divvied up the cost on this. He's providing the basically the pot, which is up here, 100K, with the on-off switch, and he got those from Amazon. And he is also doing the PCB board. So he's already got those sent off, and they are on their way back as far as I know. So I think you get 5 when you do a sample, or whatever you want to call that, prototype, I guess that'd be the way to do it. Prototype, they give you 5 for a pretty special price, and that's what he did. And so those are on the way back, and he will be sending me 2 of those. And I bought both the speakers, and he's gonna take, and when they come in, I just send him the money for them, and then when they come in, he'll send me a speaker, he'll send me 2 boards, and he'll send me the volume pot with switch. And in the meantime, also, I am sending him, in addition to that, 2 of these Darlington transistors. I did buy 5 of them, and I'm sending 2 of those to him so he can populate his boards. So he's got 1 already, and that way he'll have 3 boards and have 3 transistors that way. So that'll work out good. So there you go. There's a look at that. Let me get this down to. Now here's a look at the board that he came up with. He likes KiCad, Bob does, and he went ahead and KiCad and designed the board, and I think it transfers over to the I can't remember the file names for the files that the PCB manufacturer needs, but they're different than this one. But he transfers them over and sends them to the PCB company, and they come up with this, and this is what it'll look like. So as you can see, it just says signal tracer. We didn't want to get into numbers. There is the input over here. This is the ground. There's the hot side of the input. Up here we have the volume control, the high side, the wiper, and the ground side or low side. Down here we have the supply voltage coming in, 9 volts right there in the ground. And over here is our output, the speaker minus and speaker plus. So there you go. That's how that, and that will fit, hopefully. I made it to Bob's specifications. In other words, I designed the case to match his numbers for this, how this will fit. So we'll hope it does. If not, we may have to trim down the edges or something like that with the Dremel. Whatever it takes, we'll get it in there. It's not a big deal. But I did want to do that. Now here's the thing I told you I did. I did this in color paint. I took that basically straight on view of the case in Tinkercad, and I already had I believe I had the top already painted blue, and I just copied that and painted this part in color paint. And that's basically what it's going to look like. It's there's your volume control on off switch. This will be your 1/8 inch 3.5 millimeter jack input for it. And I am planning on doing a probe in plastic as well, and I will make it with a switch and stuff like that, and it will be able to come apart. And when it does that, then I can add the switch to it, and so that'll work out pretty good. Now here's another view of that. There's what I came up with first before I did the other one, but again, that looks pretty good. I think it's going to be really cool to have that. We're not going to sell these or anything like that. We're just basically doing this for our own pleasure, and I just thought it'd be kind of neat to have an IT5283 again, because I liked it when I had it. I had this one. I had the RF signal generator, and I had the bridge too, the with resistance, capacitance, inductance bridge, I think is what it was. But I had 3 of those, and like I say, I ended up selling all of them, and that was back in the 80s when I had those. So kind of miss those. And of course, I had the multimeter. I ended up selling that to Daniel on, like I say, he wanted it, so sold him that, and I had that. So I had 4 of them. I think there was, I can't remember, there were 4 or 5 of these, but anyway, that's what I had. So that's a pretty good look at it, and I think there's the original that I was working from, the PDF of the schematic, or at least that's the amplifier side. The preamps on this side don't have that listed up there, but anywho, that's a look at it, and again, that's what it's going to be, and can't wait to get them on. Like I said, they are on the way back, and so we should have that back together, and as soon as the I get it. One of the things I wanted to show you. Well, you saw the paint in the previous section when I was in the shop, and yeah, I'm going to paint that, get that taped off and painted while I'm waiting for the parts to come in and get that all ready to go. I have it screwed together, as you can see, or you did see, I should say. So really coming along, and I'm really kind of excited about this. This is a fun project for me, and I know I called it a time waster, but if it's something I'm interested in doing, and it's occupying my time and keeping me from going out on the street wreaking havoc on people, I guess it'll work. So that's gonna do me. You guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this little aside into my what I'm doing here, and I do other work as well, and I haven't showed that for a while, but I am working in the shop and putting things together, and of course we're working on the BDST. That's ongoing as well. So there is other things going on. I don't make a video of everything anymore, so you guys know how that goes. So I just got kind of tired of that grind, and I enjoy this much better, and just gotta make a video when I feel like it. So you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see ya.